Good morning, and my name is Aaron Mager. I'm the middle school counselor here at ADM. I also coach basketball, and I'm obviously part of the counseling PLC. And I'm proud to be on all of those teams or groups or committees, whatever you want to call them. And what we're doing is making a video for our first and second year teachers, kind of a triage video of ways that they can help with some of the mental health needs or the experiences our students are showing in the classroom. And a couple of the questions that I had that were posed in the middle school forum. One of them was had to do with having a fidget box or allowing students to take a short break in the classroom. And the first thing I think that I know our teachers and our first year teachers, I see some of them here directly, are doing really well is they are building rapport with students. They're getting to know their students. They're getting to know their individual student needs. And I think that's probably first and foremost the most important thing is know your kids, know how they work, know what kind of things antagonize them, know what kind of things calm them down. And that takes time. Early in the year, it's definitely hard to know those things or best responses. So what they need and what you can allow are two things that I would say I would start with. Having a quiet space in your room. I know many of you have a middle room or a middle space off of your classroom. It used to be an easy thing to say, hey, why don't you go take a quick drink and come on back to the room, letting the kid have a 1 to 2 minute walk. Hopefully we'll be able to do that in the future. This year, that's kind of difficult with water fountains off. Maybe have them go touch a doorknob on a different classroom and return as just a way to set parameters to your break, because I think that's important too. Hey, I'm going to give you a 2 to 3 minute break. Go ahead and take a walk around the loop and then come on back into the classroom with kind of a fresh mindset. So that's one thing I would definitely try to do. Fidget box, I think they're a good idea. Sometimes equity can be an issue. Hey, how come I don't have some of that stuff to play with? A lot of times those things, I've had them in my office and they end up walking out sometimes too. So I wouldn't hesitate to use them. I would just find a system to keeping track of them and making sure kids are accountable to giving them back so you don't lose them. Any of those types of things, there's lots of different ones. There's some like fidget cubes that allow student maybe with ADHD or other hyperactivity things where they can slowly move, and hopefully it's those things that are quiet. That's another thing I would use is quiet fidgets that you don't mind having. The spinners and some of those things over the years probably aren't the best option just because they can fly off a kid's finger, hit the deck, and they can be distracting, especially the ones that light up. So anything quiet, anything that can kind of be discreet with that student, I think is a good plan, especially those that really need something to fidget with to stay attentive. Um, Call for help anytime you need with the counselors in your building. I think you guys all do a good job of that, and the administration as well when they're available. Get a hold of the people when you feel like you're in over your head a little bit, or you just need a student in a new environment. Walking down and talking to us as counselors for even if it's a 10 to 15 minute thing, just to get them kind of rebooted, allow them to vent if they've got something that's bothering them and let them get that out personally. I think those are helpful strategies as well. And sometimes you're able to do that somewhat within your classroom, but I know that can be difficult when you have a lesson to do. That short 4 minutes between class time is hard to really get that moment a kid might need before they go to their next class. So use that as you can, but I'm not saying that's going to be always an easy thing. The second question that we had: mental health trends making rounds on social media that adults in school might need to be aware of. There's a ton of things, and it's kind of an ever evolving thing. Obviously, students in the middle school are using Instagram, Snapchat, several different message boards. Sometimes they're even ahead of the game from our technology people, where they have new strategies to communicate, whether that's email, Padlet, different tools that they're using on their Chromebooks and on their phones to communicate. YouTube, Facebook messaging. I mean, there's all kinds of things that some kids have access to on their phone mostly, but also on their Chromebook. So just being aware of how they're communicating, and that in classes a lot of times, hopefully not a lot of times, but some of the time they're not on the tab that they should be. So just being behind your guys or your kids when you're monitoring what's on their screen and just letting them know that you're going to touch base, you're going to swing by. We have associates in the room. They're going to be looking over your shoulder as well. There is a movie out there that's probably a good a reference to look at. It's called The Social Dilemma. And it talks a lot about how our students and really our society as a whole is getting locked into being on a screen a lot, whether that's a Chromebook, a MacBook like I am on, our phones, all of those kind of things, TV still. and students are getting locked into just a lot more information than they ever had before, and they're quantifying some things like how many followers do they have and things like that. That socially can be a little bit difficult to handle to the young mind, especially a middle school kid or lower. But even some of the high school kids we have, I think sometimes get caught up in the quantitative side of social media. So just knowing what's out there, knowing what's trending. I have to ask my kids. I have a freshman son in college. I have a freshman daughter in high school. I'm constantly kind of like, what are you guys on? What are kids using? What's going on now? What new feature on Snapchat am I missing? Because I have Snapchat, but I rarely use it. Um, Instagram, obviously, that's one that they've all used for quite some time. But the other things tend to evolve, and so just being aware of what's out there and what's trending and what kids are using, and that can be just overhearing some of their conversations. A lot of times, kids are playing online too, different games. I know Among Us is big right now in the middle school, and I think it's called Among Us anyway. But it's games that kids are logging into in the morning, even playing prior to school. So just being aware of what they're doing, how long they're on. I would say the same to parents too. We want to make sure we monitor how many hours these students are online. So have a great day. Thank you for listening to this. Bye bye now.